Hey guys, it's Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo, and we're back with another Leaks of the Week. This week is going to be a fairly short week, only consisting of 3 days, being December 28th, December 29th, and January 1st. And I'm sure that's because of the New Year's holiday. So only 3 days this week, and surprisingly, on New Year's Day, they did reveal one card, but it's very fitting who she is. It's Kambaru, and I believe this year is Year of the Monkey. And of course, Kambaru representing the monkey in the Monogatari series. Very fitting to reveal her on January 1st. And so I thought that was really cool. But anyways, we'll get to her later. But yeah, only 3 days. However, to compensate, Bushiroad did release a good amount of cards on December 29th. And so even though we don't have that many cards to play with this week, I think a couple cards they've shown this week are very interesting, and I think there's a lot to talk about with those cards. And so I still think this video will be a fairly fun one to do because there are just a good amount of interesting cards to do. But yeah, once again, before we get started, Love Live being released on January 15th, so only 2 weeks away. And once again, I did pre-order 10 extra boosters, so I'm very excited for that. And I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to open those up. And the following week, right after January 22nd, we have Monogatari being released. I'm pretty hyped for Monogatari as well. So far, the leaks are very good in my opinion, and so hopefully it continues to stay good, and hopefully it becomes pretty strong when the news that comes out. And lastly, we have Puyo, which is coming out February 4th, if I recall correctly. And I have no idea what this Puyo series is. Is it a mobile game, like a mobile game, an anime, a game, like a console game? I have a browser game. I have no idea what what this Puyo series is. So if anyone can enlighten me, then that would be most appreciated. Not that excited for Puyo because I can't really get excited about a series that I have no idea about. So yeah, before we get started, I am recording this on January 1st. However, you guys will probably not be seeing this on January 1st. So anyways, from us from ClimaxCombo, hope you guys had a good New Year's. And thank you guys for sticking with us on the channel. We've been around for quite some time. I can't believe we've been around here for like we've had this channel for what, 2-3 years now. Very surprising. I never thought the channel would get this big. I thought we would only have like 300 subscribers on the channel, and then that would be it. But now we have a very healthy amount, or to me, I'm very satisfied with how many subscribers we have, and the feedback we get from you guys is always excellent. You guys are very nice and kind to us. So once again, thank you guys from ClimaxCombo, and here's hoping to another good year for us and for, of course, everyone watching. So yeah, I think with that out of the way, let's get to it. So first of all, 105K uncommon information about the object of worship Sengoku Nadeko, Strange and Pajamas. I think this card is fairly solid. So continuous during your own turn, if all your characters are of the strange trait, this card gains plus 2k power. So yeah, fairly common ability, nothing too crazy, but still very solid in my opinion. Pretty much on offense, she's always going to be 107k because all the characters in Monogatari are strange. I can't think of a single character that's not strange. Maybe like the one card that's not strange, kind of like how the alpacas are like the only non-music characters in Love Live. But yeah, I can't think of a character that's strange, so pretty much 99.99% of the time she should be 7k on offense, and I think that's fairly solid. Costless character that's 7k on offense for pretty much no conditions, I think is fairly good. Yes, she is very weak on defense. However, if she manages to survive for a turn, maybe just because of backing up or because of, I don't know, you hit level 1 before your opponent, so if your opponent stayed level 0 and you're still level 1, they probably can't kill this Sengoku, and so she could probably survive 2 turns if that's the case. So yeah, solid on offense, weak on defense, of course. However, if she does survive 1 turn, then she is once again very solid on offense. And once again, her condition is pretty much non-existent because all your characters should be strange trait. So yeah, overall, for an uncommon, I definitely think she's very solid. And if yellow becomes a popular level 1 lineup, then I definitely can see this Sengoku being played as a pretty decent beater to go along with your level 1 lineup. I definitely don't think she'll be the main like level 1 beater for Monogatari because I don't think she just works like that. but definitely like a secondary or like a good complement to like a lineup. I think she's a very good complement to a level 1 lineup, but I don't think she'll be like the main star of the level 1 lineup. So yeah, once again, if yellow decides to, or if yellow becomes popular, then I definitely think Sengoku will have a nice place and has a pretty decent chance of being played. And she's only uncommon, so I really don't think anyone can complain. And it's Sengoku, who's freaking adorable, and she's in her pajamas, man. More points for this Sengoku. So yeah, like this card a lot. Next up, I don't really like this card. 1-0, uncommon, blue event. When you play this event, you look at top 4 cards of your deck, choose up to one strange character amongst them, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then discard any remaining cards to your waiting room. So lots of events like this, and I'm personally not a really big fan of these events. I rather like if I wanted to search a card in my deck, I would just use a card to search. If I wanted to mill, I would just like mill with a card effect or just by brainstorming. I rather not commit a card space to my deck for an event for doing something like this. So I'm personally not a huge fan of these events, like what Junketsu is like this, Karada Bulk 2, that weird animal one, I think for Two Love Through Darkness. I think they have one like that. Not like anyone plays the animal build, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of these events. But I know some people are. So if you like these events, then I go ahead and run a couple. But I personally would stray away from these events. I think you could fill up your deck slots with something a little better. But yeah, not much else to say. I mean, this event is pretty common nowadays, so I'm sure we all know what it does. And I'm sure if you're a fan of it, you're a fan of it. If you're not, then you're not. Next up, 004K common, Stare of Contempt Oshino Shinobu, that shaft head tilt. But anyways, Strange and Blood trait. So at first I was like, damn, 4K common? That's pretty cool. Level 0, but then her effect, I read her effect, I was like, oh, that's why. But anyways, this card. When this card is played from hand to stage, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a level 0 or lower character, place this card to your stock. So Shinobu, although a 4K common, or a 4K level 0 and a common, 4K level 0s are most appreciated because they are fairly strong beaters. Of course, I don't really think this Shinobu is good because of her condition. Reveal top if it's level 0, she goes to stock. I'm sure we all know by now, but most of our deck does consist, or a good chunk of our deck consists of level 0s, usually 14 to 18 level 0s. So a decent amount of level 0s in your deck. And if you play her at level 0 and she gets hit to the stock, that sucks. I mean, yeah, you got the stock, but you miss out on an attack. And so that way, if you want to get an attack in, you would have to commit another card to your hand. And that's not good because hand size is oh so important in Weiss Schwarz. Or, this hand size is oh so important in every card game. But of course, Weiss Schwarz is no exception. So, at level 0, if she does go to your stock, that's pretty bad. Maybe later in the game, you want her to hit your stock so that way you can make some plays. But I don't think it's worth it because of how much of our decks do consist of level 0s. If you play her at level 0 and then she goes to your stock, if she's the only level 0 in your hand, you pretty much miss out on a turn. Or if you have multiple Shinobus in your hand and she's like the only level 0 you have, if you play one Shinobu, your real top, if it's level 0, she goes to your stock, and then what are the other Shinobus going to do in your hand, Are you going to play them all so they could go to your stock? No, that's not really worth it. You rather be using her to attack to get you a stock so that way you can deal damage and gain a stock. You know what I'm saying? So overall, a little too risky, and I'm sure there'll be better level 0 beaters to come for the Monogatari series. So I would definitely stray away from this card. Maybe if you're a budget player, or you're making a Shinobu waifu deck, or you just really like Shinobu, which I don't blame you because I'm a pretty big fan of Shinobu as well. I think she's my favorite Monogatari girl. Yeah, I would definitely say she's my favorite Monogatari girl. I really like Shinobu as well, but I don't like her enough to be running this card, so I would definitely not run this card. And it's not like yellow is even hard to splash in your Monogatari decks anyways, because of last week we saw the level 0 Hachikuchi, and in the first set we have the Hachikuchi Brainstorm. So it's so easy to splash in yellow now. I really don't think there's an excuse for you to be running this card, so just don't run it. Of course, the ultimate excuse is she's my waifu, and then we all have to accept that. Anyways, next up, this card, 002KR, Serious Look, Araragi Koyomi, Strange and Blood trait. So first effect, when it's played from hand to stage, you may mill the top 3 cards of your deck to the waiting room. Second effect, auto. When your opponent plays a climax onto his climax border, you may place this card to your stock. So serious look, Araragi Koyomi. I really like. I think he's a fairly solid and good card. His first effect, relevant in all stages of the game. I'm sure you guys know by now. I'm a huge fan of on-play mill 3. It's just so useful in all stages of the game. This Araragi, no exception. So his first effect, right off the bat, very useful throughout all stages of the game, like I said. His second effect, pretty matchup to, his second effect is either like okay or very good, I think, depending on the matchup. So I'm sure we all know now that on reverse climax combos are very prominent and very relevant, and is something definitely to be scared of at level 1, and starting from level 1 all the way to level 3. Starting at level 1 because of on reverse climax combos like Minami, Mikan, very, 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 very relevant. And so if you can deny your opponent on reverse climax combos, then the more you can do, the merrier, because every time they do get like an on reverse climax combo with something like let's say Minami from Cinderella Girls, you do deny them one extra plus, one extra search, and in this case one extra power boost, because in this case it's Minami. So very good. And of course at level 3, on reverse climax combos are even more devastating because instead of plussing they usually just kill you. So yeah, dodging on reverse climax combos can always be good, and this Araragi can accomplish that because when your opponent plays a climax, he can send himself to the stock, and so of course when he does send himself to the stock, he's not on the field anymore, so he can't be reversed, and so your opponent can't get their on reverse climax combos. Of course, if you do send him to your stock, you are more susceptible to taking one extra damage, but I do think that's worth it in most situations, unless you're out like all 8 climaxes, not really worth it. But in most situations, I do think it's worth it because denying your opponent gaining advantage is always a good thing in every card game. So yeah, definitely, even though he sends himself to the stock, if your other 2 characters are strong, like for example, if you have like level 0 Araragi on the field and 2 fairly strong level 1s on the field, and let's say your opponent is level 1 as well, maybe if they're playing like a bunch of Minamis, to get one Minami started, they would want to kill your level 0 on the field, but in this case, because it's Araragi, they can't really do so, because if they try to kill him, then he would just send himself to the stock. And so they would be forced to attack your other level 1s to get their climax combos off. And they might not be comfortable doing that, just depending on the situation. Maybe they're afraid of like backups, or they just can't hit high enough power to hit over them. So I think, just a lot of situations where he can be useful. And so I just think he's very useful because of the fact that he can dodge on reverse climax combos. Of course, if your opponent isn't like running on reverse climax combos, prime example, SAO, for their climax combos, level 1, they just have to pay 1. Either they run the Asuna or the Absolute Sword, or I should say Yuki with her gold bar. Very popular now. I'm surprised that she's so popular. Actually, no, I'm not. She's a really good card. But anyways, the 1-0 Yuki, in Sword Art Online's case, they don't have to reverse to get their climax combos off. So in like this matchup, or like in a Sword Art Online matchup, he's not as powerful in my opinion because he doesn't really deny your opponent anything. If you do send it to your stock, then all you really get is 1 stock, but in this, the downside is that you are susceptible to taking more damage. So like in a matchup where your opponent doesn't need on reverse climax combos, like I said, Sword Art Online, level 1, Yuki combo, doesn't need to reverse, and at level 3, the Sinon combo, once again, doesn't need to reverse. So against Sword Art Online, not as good, but still can be fairly useful. Okay, sorry about that. But anyways, so against like decks that aren't dependent on reverse climax combo, not as good, but still I think can be fairly useful. Maybe your opponent just plays a climax because they want a climax combo, or they just want to play a climax just so they get pushed for the more damage. You can still send him to your stock, just so you can get an extra stock out of it, because he's most likely going to die anyways. So why not get a stock out of it? Maybe that extra stock with Araragi will help you make a certain play next turn, or Or yeah, or just you could build up more stock for the later turns because as I'm sure many of us know, Monogatari does have a pretty menacing level 3 with their level 3 back row characters and they're very high power level 3s. Maybe you just want to build more stock for the later stages of the game. You can just send them there. Or if you want to take the extra damage, just so maybe you can level up, or maybe you are confident in your canceling and you want to take that extra damage so that way you have a higher chance of canceling, you can easily do that with his ability when your opponent plays a climax. So yeah, overall, I think he's a pretty terrific and fun card. Like I said, first effect very relevant against many against everything. So first, like with his first effect alone, he's fairly solid, and his second effect is fairly solid or very good depending on the matchup, in my opinion. So yeah, overall, I definitely think he's R worthy, and I definitely think he's a good and fun card. And green is a fairly solid color in Monogatari just because of the 1-1 Hanakawa assist that, I'm sure we all know from the very first booster, the 1-1 Hanakawa assist. Very strong assist. If green decides, or if green stays as like a good or popular color, and people want to splash green into their Monogatari decks, perhaps we can try out this Araragi as like a good utility level 0, because I definitely think he's a very good utility level 0. Think he has a lot of uses. So I definitely think he can be very useful. I think he's a good way to splash in green. So maybe run 3 to 4 of him, or maybe 2 to 4 of him, and I think you can't go wrong. So yeah, overall, really like this Araragi. Super awesome. Whoa, I had something come up I had to do. So it looks like it's only been 1 second for you guys, but it's actually been a day, a little over a day for me. So through the power of YouTube editing, we will go through or go on. So anyways, on to the next card. We have 00500 double R Rin. Hello Hoshi o Kazoete, which means hello count the stars. Hoshi Zora Rin, music trait. She has two effects. First one, continuous. She's an assist, so characters in front of her get plus 500 power. Two, when the climax Hello Hoshi o Kazoete is placed onto your climax border and you have 5 stock or greater, you may look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one music character amongst them, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then discard any remaining cards to your waiting room. And hello, count the stars is this stock 1 soul. Excuse me, I should say blue stock 1 soul. So this Rin, I don't know where to start. I think there's so many things to talk about with this Rin, but as a whole, I do think she is pretty amazing. But I think to truly appreciate this Rin, I think we have to know how the heavy blue splash green Love Live deck works. I'm sorry if you guys know how this deck works. I've mentioned this deck a couple times throughout Leaks of the Week for Love Live, but I really do think you have to know, at least have an idea, I should say, of how the heavy blue splash green Love Live deck works. So once again, I do apologize if you do know how this deck works, because the next minute's gonna be really obvious. But just in case for people who don't know, I will go over it really quickly. So the heavy blue splash green Love Live deck generally consists of many costless cards. Level 0, of course, costless. Level 1, very costless as well. Usually your level 1s ranges from like the Kita Kita Sensation Maki, and along with like the level 1 Lean, Sunday's Best Lean. Use these two to beat shit up. Just go on with your level 1 game. Play climaxes whenever you can, etc., etc. The only time you really pay stock is to like brainstorm with the Kita Kita Sensation Lean. But besides that, the deck is very costless, and yeah, you just try to build a lot of stock. Starting at level 2, then you can start using that stock. You usually play the Love Wing Bell events, and then you can also start playing the level 3 Maki from the first booster at level 2. Then, of course, like every other deck, at level 3 is when you start paying out your stock. However, in this deck's case, the level 3s are a little more stock intensive than your average level 3s. For example, the level 3 usually looks something like this. Am I forgetting anything else? Oh yeah, I should pull this out. But usually, you got your good old healer Rin, but also you have like the double attacking Hanayo, which is the only game ender for blue. Her climax combo is ridiculously expensive. You have to pay 3, ditch 2 on attack, and she costs 2. So very heavy double attacker. Also, this Eddie, not every deck runs this, but it's starting to catch up in popularity in my opinion. But she has an on play 1. She has an on play ability of 1, And of course, the Happy Maker Rin, I'm sure we all know by now since she's in English now too, and she's been out in Japan for a while. Has an on play 1 ability, and on attack you pay 1. So the level 3s do cost a little more than average. And don't forget, you still have Love Wing Bell events. So, the stock can go dry pretty damn fast once you hit level 3. But yeah, like I said, so level 0, level 1, build ton of stock. Level 2, play level 3 Maki, play Love Wing Bells. Level 3, play Love Wing Bells, play your level 3s, heal and kill, and go for your somewhat gimmicky game ending with your Eddie, your Rin, and your Hanayo. The climax lineup for this deck usually ranges from stock 1 soul to a couple of pantses. The pantses range from the double attacking Hanayo pants, the Happy Maker Rin pants, usually like 3 of these, 2 of these, 4 of these, 1 of these. It's usually a combination of these two. Usually 5 is like a good number I see for pantses. And usually the last 3 climaxes I see are the stock 1 soul. There is a combo with the stock 1 soul, however, it's pretty bad, so nobody really runs it. You just run the stock 1 soul for the fact that it's a stock 1 soul. So now that we talked about, and yeah, that's generally the gist of how the deck plays. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about some other points. So first of all, oh man, there's so much to talk about. I'm not too sure where to begin. Well, I guess we'll go in order. So first of all, she's a 5-turn front assist. Blue's back row level 0 for Love Live isn't all that impressive. The best back row blue character is, I'm sure we all know, the Kita Kita Sensation Rin. Very, very good back row blue card. Thank God we got this. It opens so many builds and plays because of this level 0 Rin. But anyways, she is definitely the best level 0 blue back row character. And after that, there's honestly not that much better ones. Maybe the level 0 Hanayo from the very first booster. The one where you trigger a climax and you give a character plus 500 till the end of your opponent's turn. Not very good nowadays. And maybe the PR Maki that has the check top on play and the 5-turn front assist. But no one really runs those two. So, besides that, Maki or Kita Kita Sensation Rin was only the real back row blue character for level 0. But now we have a new back row blue level 0, which is actually pretty damn good. So, I guess that's one benefit of her first effect, that now we have a good back row blue character. Usually, like the heavy blue splash green decks, back row consists of the 0-0 Eddie assist from the School Idol Festival booster, where on play you get to mill 3 and a 500 front assist. Usually that is the assist of choice for level 0 for the heavy blue splash green deck. But anyways, so now blue has a new addition to the level 0 lineup, which is a level 0 back row lineup, which is quite nice. But of course, why she's so good is because of her climax combo. I'm pretty sure it's fairly obvious, but I'll say just in case people don't know. But anyways, you can use her climax combo when you have 4 stock, because her climax combo isn't auto like most climax combos, if not all climax combos. But her climax combo isn't auto, and the stock 1 soul is an auto, because stock 1 soul climax is an auto by nature. They are always auto. And like in Weiss Schwarz, when you have 2 autos abilities going off at the same time, the player who triggers them, so the turn player, the turn player I should say, is the one that gets to dictate which one resolves first. So in this case, if you have 4 stock, you should of course resolve the stock 1 soul first, so get a blue character, put it in your waiting room, put it to your stock, and then choose to resolve the Rin's climax combo after. Now you have 5 stock, because you resolve the stock 1 soul first, and now her climax combo goes off. So technically, you need 5 stock for her combo to go off, but in reality, you only need 4 stock for the combo to go off. So I think that's a huge boost to this card. The fact that it combos with a stock 1 soul just ups the playability of this card by so much. But anyways, that's a really important thing to note, very important. Also, when her combo goes off, I think you get a lot of good benefits. I'm sure we all know how powerful check top 4, choose a character added to your hand is. Not so strong in an event like Kuchinawa. It's okay, but on a character, I think it's all that much more powerful. Like if sets have on play, discard, check top 4, usually you run it like, Idolmaster CG, Idolmaster, man, I'm drawing a blank, but there's so many sets. Kantai, Idolmaster Original, Sweets Nisekoi, so this effect very powerful. And this one's in a climax combo, which is really good. The ability to just pick a character out from your waiting room or in your deck, add it to your hand. The ability to just mill through your deck, really, really awesome. And also, last video when I talked about the heavy blue splash green deck, I mentioned how sometimes I do run out of hand size with the deck because the deck doesn't really have any real way to plus, or it doesn't have many ways to plus, I should say. Like the best way and the most consistent way you can do it, consistent quote unquote, is the Kita Kita Station Rin, but sometimes if the brainstorm doesn't go off, then sometimes I do find myself lacking in hand size. You do have the pantses, which are nice, but can't reliably trigger those. And so the only real way you can plus is like brainstorming, level 3 Maki, draw 2, ditch 1, or the Happy Maker Deans. But Happy Maker Deans at level 3, so that doesn't really count. So sometimes I do find myself running out of hand size with the deck. But now with this new combo, I don't think that's really going to be happening, especially in conjunction with like the level 1 Maki, the Angelic Angel Maki we saw last week, that Clock Encore, and We Are Single Light Maki that combos with the pants. I'm not too sure if the We Are Single Light Maki will be popular, but just throwing it out there. Like these three new cards, I think just like the Angelic Angel Maki and the new Hello Counter-Star Rin, I think those two alone will increase the hand size gaining of the heavy blue splash green deck. So this also really helps out the heavy blue splash green deck because it helps you generate more hand size. And also this card fits perfectly into the heavy blue splash green deck. Some cards you have to put some effort into putting in, or you have to like hurt your deck a little just to make it work. Prime examples would be like the level 3 Otosaka Yu from Charlotte. It did have some potential, but in the end, it didn't turn out to be that popular. The more popular build is like the Yusa Misa build. Or another example could be something like the Hanayo we talked about last week, how to make it really consistent you would need to run the level 0 Nico. However, this Lean doesn't hurt the deck one bit at all because, first of all, like I said, the deck is already running Stock 1 Soul. Since the deck is already running Stock 1 Soul, why not have a new Stock 1 Soul that does the same thing as Stock 1 Soul does, but this time we get really good benefits out of doing so. And it's a 500 in front assist, which is nice. To add this card in, all we simply have to do is take out the old 500 assist we were running, which is the level 0 Eddie that on play mills 3. I mean, it kind of does the same thing since both of them does mill your deck. However, the Eddie is much faster. Pros and cons, etc., etc. I'm not going to go over it, but they kind of do the same thing. But Lean does have a bit more benefits in certain situations. But like I said, they kind of do the same thing. So this Lean, I think, fits perfectly. Since you're already running Stock 1 Soul, why not run a card that combos with Stock 1 Soul? But this time, it's really, really good. Unlike the old Stock 1 Soul Climax combo, that's why no one runs the combo because it's bad. But this one is actually really good. So putting it into your deck doesn't hurt the synergy at all, and I think it just fits perfectly, and it just helps the deck out tremendously. If we wanted, the deck can mill itself so fast already with like on play mill 3 with the Eddies, and on play check top 4 discarded card with the 0/0 Maki. The deck mills out so fast. I don't think the Eddie is going to be necessary anymore, because if you're milling your deck with Rin already, and you're milling your deck with the Maki, not too sure if you need any more milling at that point. Maybe for the new, if we still want mill, play 3 on, or on play mill 3, I think if we still want that for the heavy blue splash green deck, or players still want that for the heavy blue splash green deck, you could opt for the 0/0 Maid Muse in the variety set, because it has an on play mill 3, and since the heavy blue splash green deck is only dual color, you can get away with running a third color level 0 that doesn't help out the deck, but you could get away with that because it's only a dual color deck. So I think adding her doesn't hurt the deck at all. I think it fits perfectly in, so I think that's another great boost to this card. And also, she is Rin. Like I said, with Lovewing Bell being so awesome and prominent in this build. Oh, do I not have Lovewing Bell out? Here we go. But anyways, the deck does run Lovewing Bell. And of course, Lovewing Bell only targets Rin. Of course, this new Rin is obviously Rin. So now we have a new back row target for Lovewing Bell. We already had one with the Kita Kita Sensation Rin. But, why not have more targets for the Lovewing Bell event? Just make it more consistent. So yeah, also another huge boost to this card, the fact that she is lean makes her all that much more awesome. So yeah, overall, I think there's just so many good points about her. But of course, let's not forget that her climax combo can completely whiff if you have less than 4 stock. And that is, of course, going to be the case. The very first few turns of your game, you are not going to have 4 more stock. And so it's usually going to take you, 3, 4 turns to ramp up to the 4 stock. Because, turn 1, you play, let's say 1 or 2 characters. Turn 2, you play, 2 more characters, and then you attack. So, usually you'll have it by turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. And that's still pretty good. Starting from there, you can start constantly comboing. But of course, we're going to have those bad games where turn 1, trigger climax, it's like shit. Turn 2, payout climax, attack. First attack climax, second attack clean, it's like, well, shit. Third turn, payout stock, payout stock, payout climax. Turn 3, attack. First turn climax, second turn, or first attack climax, second attack climax, third attack clean, and it's just like, oh my god. Like, what are you going to do at that point, So there will be some games where you're forced to constantly pay out stock in the early games because you don't want to get the climax out of there. And in those situations, her combo isn't very good. It's pretty much damn near useless because you need to have 4 more stock for the combo to go off. Well, I should say technically 5, but you guys know what I mean. You only need 4 more because of how the nature of the combo works. But, hopefully that's not always the case. And in the case where you do manage to get 4 clean stock, 5 clean stock, 6 clean stock, starting from there, you can start. You do have this combo active for the rest of the game. Like I said, the heavy blue splash green deck is such a costless deck. Honestly, once you hit 4 or 5 stock, 4 or 5 clean stock with that deck, like around level 1, there's really no reason to pay out stock in this deck because, like I said, it's just so costless. And the new cards we're getting this new extra booster for blue are very costless as well, like the new We Are Single Light Maki, costless Climax combo, a costless card herself. The new Angelic Angel Maki, costless card as well. So, even the new cards help out this deck a lot because of how costless it is. So yes, in the bad games where you just keep triggering climaxes and you're forced to pay out stock, she's not very good, obviously. But in games where you have decent to good luck, her combo I think is really good because once you hit the 4 stock, you will have access to her climax combo for the rest of the game, for most of the duration of the rest of the game. Maybe at level 3, you probably won't because when you play so many level 3s together, you won't have that much stock. But for a good portion of the mid to the near end stage of the game, you'll have this combo active and it'll just probably be active for the rest of the game. And I just think that's super awesome. And if in a game where you're even with your opponent, or if you're beating your opponent a little, I think just constantly spamming her climax combo will help you accelerate a lot further and just help you gain more advantage than your opponent and just really push you far ahead in my opinion. And her combo is completely costless, which I think is pretty damn ridiculous. And also I think it's important to note that she doesn't have to be anywhere on the field specifically for the combo to go off. She can be in the front row, the back row, doesn't matter. And I think that's really awesome because if you have let's say your back row consists of level 0 Countess Holo Counter-Star Lean and the Kita Kita Sensation Lean, which will probably be the popular back row of choice in my opinion when the new set comes out. So let's say your back row consists of that. Let's say your opponent has 2 characters in their front row and an empty border on their stage, or an empty space on their stage. In the front row, you have the Hello Counter-Stars Climax in your hand, and you have another level 0 Hello Counter-Star Lean in your hand. Why not play the extra Hello Counter-Star Lean in your hand onto the empty border on your opponent's stage, attack directly with the stock 1 soul. That way you get 2 instances of Climax combo off. And there's no reason not to, unless you don't want to mill that fast. But there's no real reason not to, because it's a free +1. And I just think that's really awesome, with just 1 lean, it breaks even, and even then it's still really good because it's completely costless. You choose out a good character, you're trading a climax to get a card out of your deck and to mill through it much faster, and I just think that's super awesome. And with more lean, you get all that much more, but at the same time you do plus. And you can constantly spam this climax combo because the deck already runs Pantses and stock 1 soul. So the Pantses that you are already running can grab you the stock 1 soul, the new stock 1 soul, and now you can constantly just keep milling through your deck, getting cards out of it, and then just keep going from there and then just push for more damage because of Stock One Soul. I just think it's super, super, super awesome. Before when I play this deck right now, it's like I would trigger a Pants, I would grab a Stock One Soul, and then I would play the Stock One Soul next turn, which is nice. But playing climaxes from your hand is a minus in your hand size, and I don't really get any benefits out of it besides the extra soul and the free stock, which is really good. But like just imagining it in my head now, every time I trigger a Pants, I know could get a stock one soul that will break even, mill through my deck, and grab a character that I may need for the future turn. And I just think that is just super amazing. So yeah, I think there's so many good points about this Lean. The fact that it's an assist, you only need 4 stock for it. It combos with a stock one soul. You mill through your deck. You grab pieces from it. It just fits in perfectly. It's lean. And the heavy blue splash green deck can be a little combo based at the end. Like you might want to play like the Eddie in conjunction with the level 3 lean. And then you could also play those two in conjunction with like the extra booster Eddie that does the stock swap. A lot of shenanigans you can do in the conjunction with like these 3 cards. So just be like just lots of shenanigans you can do. You can play like level 3 Eddie, and then they do the whole stock swap. You play the level 0 Eddie, stock swap, and then like they might have a lot of climaxes in their stock, and then it's like, oh shit, shuffle your deck back, bitch. And then now they're like refreshing with like 1 climax, which is pretty hilarious. And then they just die. So kind of it can be kind of combo-y. So I think her grabbing out those certain combo pieces would be really fun. And I just think she's such a fun and good, excellent addition to the new heavy blue splash green deck. So yeah, I hope you guys understand what I mean with her. But man, I've been talking about this card for what, 20 minutes now? Oh my goodness. But so many points I wanted to talk with her. I think I got them all. But I hope you guys understand what I mean with this card. And I really do think she's awesome. I'm really excited to play her when the new set comes out. As much as I love Maki, I think this is the card I am most excited for to play with and try out when the new set comes out in a couple weeks now, right? We got what, 2 weeks left? 1 week left. Holy shit. So, really excited to try her. And this is the third blue double R now, right? We got the Hanayo, the third blue double R. So, this is all blue is going to really get. Just a couple R's left for blue. But the blue double R's as a whole, I think, are pretty good and do have a lot of potential. I think the Hanayo and the Maki have a lot of potential. But I think this Rin, I think it's clear that she's really strong. So, really, really excited for this. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to do the waifu review. But anyways, no exception, the waifu deck. This card should be amazing. Rin's waifu deck's back row was pretty ass before. All you really had was like the Kita Kita Sensation Maki or Rin. And what, the really bad Rin assist where like when you change you give it +1 level, some stupid shit like that. I remember looking through her list, but it was pretty terrible. But now you can make now she's a really good addition to the new Rin waifu deck because now you have another really good back row character you can be running with it. And of course the Rin waifu deck I imagine still runs the 4 pants for the Happy Maker Rin, and now you can run 4 new stock 1 soul with your Happy Maker Rin pantses, and then same thing, just keep recycling and keep using this constantly. So should be an excellent addition to the Rin waifu deck as well. So really good day for the Rin fans. I'm not a big Rin fan. I think she's really cute and all, but I'm not the biggest Rin fan. But when this song played in the movie, I thought she looked really cute, and I really liked the song as well. Her outfit is adorable, and not a big fan of the girls with the wings up, but in this outfit, Rin just makes it work. So I was really hoping Rin would get a card in this outfit and in this song, and it turned out it was the double R, and it turns out that it's really, really good. So another huge plus to this card, in my opinion. Just love the art on this, so really excited to try this. I really wonder what the holo art is going to be for this and the climax. Super, super excited. But anyways, enough about Rin. We've been talking about her way too long. On to the next card. Hello Hoshi o Kazoete Hanayo. It combos with the stock 1 soul as well, but they didn't really synergize together, so I decided to review them as separate cards. But anyways, this Hanayo, it's alright. But anyways, 2175. Continuous, if you have 6 stock or greater, she gets plus 15, and she combos with the stock 1 soul again. When she attacks with the stock 1 soul, all your characters get plus 2k power until the end of the turn. So this Hanayo is okay. Once again, just like the Rin, you technically only need 5 stock for the combo to go off. Because once again, you get the stock 1 soul, you'll get 6, etc, etc. So technically, you only need 5 stock for the combo for her first effect to go off. But in this case, it's a little more difficult than the Rin, because the Rin herself is costless. However, Hanayo herself does cost 1. So in certain situations, when you play the Hanayo, you only might have 4 stock, and if that's the case, she's not very good. But 219k, it's okay. But now that level 3s come out at level 2 so easily and in just like great numbers, 219ks don't really cut it. To be completely honest, most level 2s don't really cut it at all. So not too sure. 219k, it's okay. Maybe your opponent's not running a level 2 game, then of course she can be fairly solid. Like maybe you're playing against 2 level darkness, she can be pretty imposing and can be difficult for them to reverse, especially like even after using their combo with the gold bar along with the 1/1 assist. Can still be pretty difficult if you use it along with a backup, but still, most decks do run a level 3 that come out of level 2, so against those, she's not that strong. But she does combo with the stock 1 soul, and on attack, all your characters get plus 2k, so it can be pretty nice. Giving all your characters plus 2k is a pretty damn respectable amount. Of course, level 3s are very abundant at level 2, and she can't really compete with those. Like even if she's like 219k, you attack with the stock 1 soul. Let's say you have 6 or more stock, or let's say you attack, you have 6 or more stock, so she's 219k. You attack, she gets 2k, so she's 2111k. Let's say you have 2 500 in front as assist, she's like 2112k. A simple 3k backup from your opponent in conjunction with their level 3 will reverse her, and then it just kind of sucks. But at least your other 2 characters got the 2k power. But of course, you can use her in conjunction with like a level 3. Like at level 2, you could play like level 3 Maki, or even the new level 3 Hanayo. Play this Hanayo, attack with this Hanayo first, pump up your Angelic Angel Hanayo, and then, go from there. And it's not the greatest climax combo, but I do think it's worth like keeping in mind at the back of our heads, is because it does combo with the same card that combos with the Rin. And like I said, I think this Rin is really amazing, and I think you'll probably be running 3 to 4 of her combo anyways. Like, you're going to be running 3 to 4 Hello Count the Stars, in my personal opinion. And if that's the case, why not run 1 Hanayo in conjunction with these? Because in certain situations, she can be really good. That extra 2k power can be quite devastating and can help you wipe your opponent's field out, which is always really nice to do. So, if she didn't combo with the same card that combo with Rin, I would have been like, oh, just forget about this. Now Love Life has better climax combos. But it's because she combos with the same card that combos with Rin, which is amazing. You can get away with running 1 Hanayo, in my opinion, and it wouldn't really hurt your deck that much because you're only really committing 1 card to your deck for a okay-ish climax combo, but you're not running it for this, you're running it for the Rin, and you're just getting a little extra benefit when you use it with Hanayo. So you can get away with running 1 just because it does combo the stock 1 soul, in my opinion. So it's alright. Definitely against a deck that doesn't have a level 3 that comes out of level 2, she can be pretty damn good because, then the extra 2k can go pretty far. So you can get away with 1. If you don't want to run 1 in your heavy blue, or if you don't want to run 1 in your Love Life decks, even though you're running this already, I think that's okay too, because, maybe you just don't have the deck space to commit 1 more card for this Hanayo. So, but in the end, for a common, I definitely think she's playable, and I think you can get away with running 1 just because she combos with a really good climax as it is. So, yeah. For the Hanayo waifu deck, just like last week with the Angelic Angel Hanayo, the Hanayo waifu deck already has a really solid level 2 game plan when you use it with this Weiss Hanayo. She could be 2-1-10-5, and on offense she'll be like, what, 2-1-13-5, which is hilarious. Just gotta have 2 of these in your level up zone, and Hanayo does have a searcher, so it's not that difficult to accomplish. The hardest part is getting the first one to level up zone, because sometimes you just don't draw into these, or you just don't draw into the searcher. And if that happens, then it's really, really terrible. But usually it works out, and when it does, it gets pretty damn scary for your opponent at level 2. So I think Hanayo already has a really solid game plan at level 2 as it is. But, I mean, you can still run like the 4 stock 1 souls in your Hanayo waifu deck, just because Hanayo's level 3 is really expensive, being a double attacker and all. You can run 4 of her pants, and run 4 of this stock 1 soul, maybe run 1 or 2 of these, just cause like you're already running the 4 stock 1 soul, maybe run 1 or 2 of these, just because the stock 1 soul climax can really help, because the double attacking Hanayo is just so freaking expensive at 3. So at the Hanayo waifu deck, she already has a better game plan, like I said. But I mean, what other climax combos does Hanayo have? So like I said, the next day, Tuesday, December 29th, quite a lot of cards this day. So anyways, 3-2 10k R, a smile till the end, Hachikuchi Mayoi, strange and spirit trait. This card I think is pretty solid. But anyways, first effect, when it's played from hand to stage, you heal. Second effect, when it's played from hand to stage, choose one of your strange characters, it gets +1 soul, and the following ability until the end of the turn. Where auto, this ability can only be activated once per turn. When the damage of this card is cancelled, you deal 1 to your opponent. Thereafter, at the start of your encore phase, place this card to your memory. And of course, damage can be cancelled as per usual. So this Hachikuchi, I think, is a fairly solid card. And especially for an R, I think it's really good. Like, if this card was double R, I don't think I would have been, like, too surprised. I'd be like, oh, damn, it's pretty solid. But for an R, I think it's really, really damn solid. But anyways, first effect, on play, heal. You know, healing, always nice. And yellow, I think this is a second healer for yellow. The only healer yellow has right now, I think, is the Shinobu healer from the second booster. And she's a good healer, but, you know, why not have more option for other healers? And this healer is also a game ender. For a while, I was wondering what Bushiroad is going to do with burn 1 on cancel. You know, it's not very good nowadays. Like, with climax combos like Yami, where you get like 2 instances of burn, when you get 2 instances of burn off, or like 1 attack, or like Musashi abilities, it's kind of like, once there's not much of a point for on play burn 1 on cancel. You know, it's like, if they're gonna have a non-climax combo related on burn effect, then, you know, just give them the Musashi ability, or give them the ability like Kirari or the Yamato Kai, where on play you pay an additional 2 and give the other character the ability as well, you know. But so I was kind of wondering, like, what are they gonna do with on play burn 1 on cancel? Like, is it just gonna die and phase out? Because it's just not that good anymore. Like, Chitoge level 3 yellow from Nisekoi is just not very good. No one really runs that. And like the level 3 burn on cancel Kotori from the School Idol Festival booster, you know, I love that card back in the day. But nowadays, I don't really consider her in any of my decks because it's just not that powerful. So I was really wondering, what the hell are they going to do with burn 1 on cancel? Are they all just going to be like Musashis, or are they just all going to be like Kirari, where you just pay an additional 2? So here's a new one. It's costless, and it's not like the Musashi ability, but I think it's like I think it's a new good burn on cancel ability. You know, I hope there's no more burn 1 on cancel. Like, that's it. I hope that just kind of phases out, and hopefully we get more that's like this one, or pay 2 on play to give another character the burn on play, or like the Musashi ability, or like combos that do more burns on cancel, because I just think burn 1 on cancel by itself is just a little too weak now. But anyways, this one, very similar to burn 1 on cancel. However, this one, you have to choose a character, so you could give it to any character. You can give it to herself. You can give it to another character. It gets an additional soul, and they get to burn 1 on cancel. Of course, however, at the start of your encore phase, it does get sent to memory. So, you know, being sent to memory does suck. It's not the worst thing ever. But, you know, sometimes it can suck. Maybe you're not running many copies of the card that you sent to memory. Maybe you're running like the level 3 green Senjo from the second booster. She was only an R. I saw some people tech 1 or 2 of those. Maybe you targeted her with this ability, and let's say you're only running 1, and it gets sent to memory at the end of your turn. And next turn, maybe you want to salvage it, but it's like, oh shit, I send it off to memory. So, in instances where you're not running many copies of that card, then, you know, it sucks when it gets sent to memory. But I mean, you should be playing around that because you are the one who chose it to have that ability. But anyways, just something to remember. Do keep in mind get sent to memory. But there are benefits of cards being sent to memory. The fact that you can, you know, you do compress one when it gets sent to memory. So that's pretty cool. But so anyways, you can stack this ability just like Yami. If you play like, let's say you have like a level 3 Senjo on the field, you play level 3 Hachikuchi from your hand, target Senjo, you play another level 3 Hachikuchi from your hand, target Senjo, now your level 3 Senjo has 4 soul, and when the damage of this card is cancelled, your opponent burns one twice, just like Yami, how the burns can stack together. So that's really cool. And she's not gonna be sent to memory. She's not gonna be sent to memory twice. She just gets sent to memory once. So I think stacking it on one character is a good way to get around the third ability, or the downside of being sent to memory at your encore phase. Just stack it on one character. That way, that one character is only sent to memory. But instead of having two characters sent to memory in the instant where you targeted it, like one character and another character with Hachikuchi's ability. But maybe sometimes you do want your other characters to be sent to memory. Like, let's say, for example, you're afraid of your opponent's on reverse climax combos, and you have 3 Hachikuchis in your hand. Play one Hachikuchi, target herself, play another Hachikuchi, target herself, because she can't target herself, do keep that in mind. Play the third Hachikuchi, target herself. They all have burn 1 on cancel, and they're all attacking for 3 soul. And at the start of your encore phase, they will be sent to memory. Yes, you are leaving your field wide open, but maybe you do want that sometimes because you want to dodge, like I said, on reverse abilities. So I think her third effect, her downside, can actually be a plus side in certain situations where you do want to forcibly leave your field open. You want to dodge on reverse abilities, or maybe you're at 3-5 or 3-6 and you want to take 2 soul damage and your opponent doesn't have a way to burn 1 on attack, then leaving yourself open is better. Or maybe you're just really confident you're canceling and you want to take more damage, that way you have a higher chance of canceling. Like you have like 10 cards left in deck and you have like 6 climaxes, In a situation like that, you probably want to leave yourself open, that way you have a higher chance of canceling. So her downside, quote unquote, can really be a good side in certain matchups and in certain situations. So I think that's cool. But anyways, so you could distribute it, stack it. You can control this ability of sending it off to memory. You can control it any way you want it, and like I said, it can be a good thing. So I think that's really cool. Also, and what else did I talk about with this card? Well, it does the burn on cancel, which is always nice. You can stack it. You can also give it to like 1 soul characters, and I think that's really cool. Before you couldn't, like, with a 1 soul character, maybe you want to give it 2 soul, or maybe you want to give that 1 soul character 3 soul, so you could like target 2 instances of that on the 1 soul character. So that's cool. You could like try to distribute more damage evenly throughout the board with the additional soul that it gains. And you could also side for precise damage. Like, you could give 2 my Hachikuchi effects on 1 level 3. Now that level 3 has 4 soul, you could side an opponent's level 3 for 1 soul. And then if they cancel, they take 1 twice. And if they're at 3-6, that's pretty much game over. Unless they have 3 climaxes right on top of their deck. And if they do, then they are a god, or you call the judge on them. But anyways, overall, this Hachikuchi I think is really good, especially for an R. It heals on play, which is nice, and her new ability, or her new burn on cancel, we haven't seen something like this yet. I think it's really good. The burn on cancel and the +1 soul is really nice. Sending her, the character off to memory is technically a bad thing, but I really think you can abuse it to your own advantage, and can help you like make plays that other decks can't by sending yourself off to memory and making it difficult for your opponent to do what they want in this case where they do want to reverse their opponent's character. Like maybe their deck is completely reversed, level 3 is completely dependent on reversing your opponent's character. Maybe like the Green Rider deck where they have a million clock shooters, or maybe the new Green Love Live deck where they have 4 clock shooters now. If all your characters are gone, they can't clock shoot shit. So I think that's cool. So yeah, overall this Hachikuchi definitely has my seal of approval. I just think it's really good. Man, Hachikuchi getting all the good cards. Next up, another level 3 for Monogatari 3-10KR Folklore Oshino Shinobu. Experience: when the total level of the cards in your level up area is 6 or greater, she gets +2/5 power and cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Her second effect is during your opponent's turn, when you did not cancel any damage that was dealt to you and this card is on your center stage, look at top card of your deck and either place it there or put it to your waiting room. So she has the when you take a damage scry 1 ability, like the Kaede, the Yusa, the Chris. Now she joins the party, and Monogatari now has a Scry 1 when they take damage ability. And, well, okay, let's go over her first effect first. Her first effect, it's pretty solid. You are going to be hitting, her experience requirement is high, but you will be hitting that experience requirement as a Monogatari player because their goal is generally to get experience 6. So that way their level 3 Shinobu from the last booster is active, and the level 3 Senjo from the first booster is active. And now we have a new experience 6 card to join the party, and it's the Folklore Shinobu. So experience 6, quite high, but you were going to be hitting it from the start anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. And when you do, she gets 2-5 power, which is pretty ridiculous. Really strong base power. She'll be a 12-5, and she can be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Let's say you have the level 3 Hanakawa assist from the first booster that gives 2k in front. She'll be, 14-5? Just super, super strong. So, Shinobu, going to be pretty difficult to deal with. 12-5 is already strong. If the level 3 Hanakawa assist stays when the new booster comes, who knows? Even though it's a level 3 assist, people might not choose to run it because it's fairly old and it's a 2k assist, which is really nice, but it's 2 stock. And the second effect is okay in certain situations, but so who knows? Maybe blue won't be popular and maybe no one will run that. So, with the Hanakawa assist, she's like almost really like almost impossible to kill, but who knows? The Hanakawa assist might not stay popular or might not be popular. But so as alone, she's still 12-5, which is hard to deal with. So it's not too bad. Can be targeted by your opponent's card effects, so she'll probably stick around. Can't be bounced, and most importantly, can't be anti-damage backed up. So pretty solid when you hit the 6 experience. And whenever you take damage, you get to use the Scry 1 ability. The Scry 1 ability has proven itself to be pretty damn good. Lots of Cinderella Girls deck choose to tech 1 or 2 level 3 Kaede because she's big body in the center, but also that Scry ability can be a real lifesaver. Also, many Charlotte decks has pretty much solidified that the level 3 Yusa Misa is quite popular and is quite powerful. Level 3 Yusa Scry ability can be really damn good. Just the Scry ability in general can be a real lifesaver. So I think the Scry 1 ability has proven its place and has proven to be a fairly powerful ability, at least fairly decent ability. So the fact that this Monogatari has a Scry 1 character as well, I think is a good addition to it. And it's only a freaking R too. Like, Jesus Christ, Monogatari getting all the dope ass Rs, yo. We still have lots of Rs to see with Love Live. Maybe we can, oops, spoilers, maybe we can get some level 3 Rs like this. But overall, very solid level 3 R. 12-5, can't be targeted, so can't be anti-damage backed up. Really hard to deal with, just strong power. Can be hard to reverse, which can, cause problems for your opponent's deck, depending on what you're playing up against. And when you take damage, Scry 1, which is fairly solid. So you could probably run 1 or 2 of these in your Monogatari decks. I don't really see her going any higher than that, just because she doesn't heal. She does Scry 1, but she doesn't heal you. So if you're at 3-6, she doesn't do anything. If you're at 3-5, she's probably not going to do you much. So, it doesn't heal, doesn't game end. So I don't think you're going to be running like 4 of her or 3 of her. I would say if you're running yellow, you could run 1 or 2 of these, just depending on your level 3 lineup. Maybe you could run 2. Maybe you could choose 1 to level up in your level up area. And then maybe you use the second one to just use as a level 3 card at level 3. Who knows, but I definitely think she's playable, and I think I could definitely see people running 1 or 2 of her when the new Monogatari booster comes out. So yeah, and Shinobu, probably my favorite girl in Monogatari, and pretty sexy, not what I'm saying, so definitely has my seal of approval. On to the next card. This girl, I hate this girl. I'm sorry if you guys like her, but I despise her. 001K double R, young girl, Oronoki Yotsugi. Strange and all. God damn it, why does she have to get a double R? Oh, I can't stand her. Anyways. When it's played from hand to stage, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a strange character, add it to your hand and discard 1 card. Second effect, when it's played from hand to stage, choose a strange character. It gets plus 1k, plus 15 until the end of the turn. So she can target herself as well, which is nice at level 0. But anyways, kinda every deck, every strong deck usually has a good way to discard excess climaxes in their hand and to get benefits out of it for no cost. This is a very good way to discard climaxes from your hand and get benefits out of it. So I think this is definitely a very solid card and definitely going to be stable in the Monogatari boosters to come, or the Monogatari decks to come. Right now, I can't really think of a way where Monogatari can discard climaxes from their hand for a low cost. Maybe like the what's her name, Karen, the level 1 Karen with experience 5 or something. You discard a climax and you search your deck or salvage a character. I don't exactly remember. Let me see that card really quickly. Nisemono. I think like this is like the only real way they can discard climax as well. Yeah, this Karen. Yeah, when it's played from hand to stage, discard a climax and then choose a character, search your deck for a character with experience and add it to your hand. I mean, this is really solid and all, but it's level 1, and maybe like green won't stay popular. And she's very low power, being at 3k. So maybe, I don't know. Actually, this is really good, but still, now, I completely forgot they had that card until now. But anyways, the fact that Monogatari has another way to discard climaxes from their hand, I think it's nice, and you get extra benefits. You break even. This card can only grab characters with experience, and that is many cards from the set. But maybe if like the level 1 game doesn't have experience, this, for example, this Nadeko Sengoku doesn't have experience in its name, and if the level 1 lineup, the level 2 lineup doesn't have experience requirements, or it doesn't have experience in their name or in their card effects, then she's not very good. And so if that's the case, I think this Ononoki is a lot better because you get to discard a card and get a card out of it at the process. So I think Ononoki is fairly solid. Just having a way to discard cards from discard climaxes from your hand and breaking even at the same time, I think is always really solid. So this Ononoki does that. Most of the time, if a deck does have a card like this, they choose to run it. Prime example, like a very recent deck that does have this is like the Charlotte decks. They run 4 of the freaking Yusa, 3 to 4 of the Yusa. The red one that gets like plus 15 on play, and on play, look at top if it's a superpower added to your hand, discard a card. Prime example. So I think this card will be no exception. Definitely playable, and I think it's definitely double R worthy, and it's a really good way to splash blue into Monogatari decks. And also her on play is quite nice. You choose a character and it gets plus 15 power for the turn. Having extra power is always nice, but right now Monogatari isn't very dependent on reverse abilities. They don't have any level 1 on reverse climax combos that are really good, and they don't have like a level 3 clock shooter or a level 3 double attacker that's dependent on reversing. So yes, the plus 15 power is on nice, but if they get a character that's very dependent on reversing their opponent's character, I think this Ononoki playability will go up all that much more higher. But even if they don't get one, I still think she's really solid and will definitely see play in the future Monogatari decks. So yeah, I hate Ononoki, but I'm not gonna lie, she's very solid. Kind of interesting. It seems like either the level 0 is gonna be double R, and the level 3 is gonna be R, because that'd be really cool. Anyways, let's go on to this fairly strange event. Took me a couple minutes to like process what this did. But anyways, 3/1 uncommon Kuriyami. So this card, it has 2 effects essentially. First effect, choose all your opponent's character, choose all of your opponent's characters. Then place all your opponent's characters other than the non-chosen characters to his memory. Second effect, choose one of your strange characters that gets plus 1k and plus 1 soul until the end of the turn. So if this card doesn't make sense to you, take note that this card is a hard counter to characters with abilities that don't allow them to be targeted by your opponent's card effects. So this Kuriyami event, just like the author said, is a hard counter to cards that can't be targeted, but just in case you don't understand, I guess I'll explain it for you guys really quickly. So Shinobu, we'll use Shinobu as an example. So level 3 Shinobu can't be targeted, right? So pretty much impossible to get rid of by card effects. Kuriyami eats her up for breakfast. So pretty much you play this event. Let's say I'm being targeted by this Kuriyami effect, and my field consists of level 3 Shinobu, level 3 Shinobu, level 3 Senjo, and 2 back row characters. They aren't really relevant at this moment, so we'll just go with 2 level 0 Hanakawas in the back row. My opponent plays Kuriyami on me. First, he targets all my characters. So Senjo will be targeted, and my 2 Hanakawas in the back will be targeted. My 2 Shinobus in the front cannot be targeted, because this card says target all your opponent's characters, but Shinobu cannot be targeted. Then all of your opponent's characters that are not targeted by this card get sent to memory. And since my 2 Shinobus were not targeted by my opponent's card effects, they will be sent off to memory, because the first half of the effect targets, but the second half of the effect does not target, so they will be affected by the second half of the card effect. So since they were unable to be targeted, they will be the only ones sent to memory, while my Senjo and my 2 Hanakawas in the back, since they were targeted in the beginning, are unaffected by the second half of the effect, so they will stay on the field. Then my opponent, the Monogatari player that did that to me, will choose one of their characters and get plus 1k power and plus 1 soul for their turn, which is really, really irrelevant. So yeah, definitely a hard counter to cards that can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Prime example I'm sure we can all think of and we all despise, unless we're playing the deck, is level 3 Yami from To Love Her Darkness. Such an annoying card, just freaking untargetable. The most ridiculous climax combo. So, prime example, but not every deck has cards that cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effect. So this card, very, very, very specific. It's just too specific in my opinion to be running as a main deck card. Maybe if everyone in your local is running To Love Her Darkness, and you don't die on the turn they play their level 3 Yamis, then you can use this event and get rid of them forever, which can be cool. But in the case that you're not playing against a deck that has cards that cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effect, prime example like Love Live, like what the hell is this card gonna do against a Love Live deck? You paid 1 stock at level 3 to give one of your characters plus 1k and plus 1 soul. Not really worth it. So in the end, this card is way, way, way too specific. There's no side decking in Weiss Schwarz, so if there was side decking, this would be a decent side deck card against To Love Her Darkness. But there's no side decking in Weiss, and against a deck that doesn't even have cards that don't have cards that can't be targeted, this card is really, really bad. So definitely don't run this unless you're expecting 100% matchup of unless you play only your friends, and your only friends and all your friends are playing To Love Her Darkness, then you can run this, but don't run it. Too specific. You can run this in Title Cup, if you have a Monogatari Title Cup, you can run this card because all the level 3 Shinobus cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. So in a Title Cup, your opponent has 3 level 3 Shinobus in front, be like, play this event, and then they get wrecked. So only in a Title Cup for Monogatari I can see this being ran, just because so many yellow level 3s can't be targeted, but besides that, don't run it. And that's it for Monogatari for this day. Next up we have Love Live. And so we got 1500 common Sunny Day Song Ayase Arisa. Almost forgot about her, but if Yukiho's getting cards, then Arisa should definitely be getting cards as well. So first of all, she's a 1k backup, a 1k no cost backup I should say. Secondly, when you use this card's backup, you can pay cost, which is 2. If you do, search your deck for 1 music character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, Arisa, very interesting. I think she is the first of her kind. Pay 2 when you use the backup to search. We haven't really seen anything like this yet, and I think it's fairly interesting. You could use... It does have some uses. Of course, I'm sure the prime example, or the prime use we can see this card being used as, is to pay out climaxes during your opponent's turn. Let's say you're at 4 cards left in deck, you attack. The last 2 attacks you triggered are climaxes. When your opponent's turn, they attack you, you could use this backup, pay out the 2 climaxes, search your deck out for a character, and then, you paid out the 2 climaxes during your opponent's turn before you refresh, which is really cool, because in other situations, you couldn't really do that. So that's really cool, but that's the most, practical and most... the most practical way and probably the way you would use it most often if you ran this card, just to pay out climaxes. Of course, you can also just use it as a way to search out a card from your deck. Let's say you're about to hit level 2 and you really, really want that level 3 Maki in your hand before it's your turn. So, your opponent attacks, you pay 2 stock, you use the backup, you pay 2 stock, you search out for the level 3 Maki, next turn is your turn, you draw, clock, draw, play level 3 Maki, and then go from there. So that can be cool. So yeah, it does have some uses, and also you can use it in the very late game. Maybe you just want to compress your deck by one more card. You know, you're at 3-6, your opponent is attacking for one. You use this ISA backup, and then you search a card from your deck. You shuffle yourself really well. You stack yourself. You know, put that damn climax on top, and then you cancel, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god!" But then you know that you stacked yourself. So you can use it at the end game to stack yourself really well. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't stack yourself, guys. That's not cool. But you can still use this. I was just joking, but you can use you can use this card as a way to take out one potential damage out of your deck at the end stage of the game. You know, very heavy for only one card out of your deck, and it's very unlikely that's going to help. But hey, why not? If you're going to die, then why not pray and pay the 2, search out a music character, and hopefully that one card you took out of your deck will save your life. So you can, I think those are the 3 most practical way you can use it. Just a way to search, a way to pay out climaxes during your opponent's turn, and as a way to just help yourself compress one card at the very late stages of the game. So I think she's really cool, really interesting, very, very, very new. And you know, I think she's interesting, but she's so new, it's really hard to judge a card when it's like completely new. But I definitely think she's playable. It does have some uses for a common. She's a very interesting common, so I'm very pleased with this. But will it like be played? I'm not too sure because Love Live only has one anti-change backup, and it's the. Did I get rid of it? It is the. This Nico. I'm sure we all know her now. This anti-change Nico. You know. Also keep in mind, Arisa's only a 1k backup, so it's super, super weak backup. It's as weak as backup gets. And, you know, if you use this backup and you pay 2 search, it's nice. But if your character dies after the even after the backup, if your character dies, which is likely going to happen, then you break even, which isn't that good. Like, if you use this backup, and the backup did manage to beat over your opponent's character, and you get to pay 2 search, that's actually pretty solid. But if you use this backup and the character still dies, then it's not as good. So keep in mind, like, it's only a 1k backup. And Love Live already has a good Tech 1 backup. This backup, it's only 1k power as well. However, it is an anti-change backup. But, you know, you use the backup, you pay 2, you kill off the changed character, and then your opponent brings out a level 0 from their waiting room, and then puts it to where it was. So it's like, are we gonna run? And a lot of decks already run the 1 anti-change Nico just because it can be really useful in certain situations. But like, are we gonna run 2 1-0 1k tech like really techy backups? I'm not too sure, you know. Like, I don't think it's worth running 2 1k backups. You know, running 1k backup with a really nifty ability in certain situations can be nice. And you know, a lot of decks run early play cards now, so she's like really practical. But like, are we gonna run 1 Arisa and 1 Nico? Like, would that be hurting our decks too much? Running 2 very low power backups that are only good in certain situations and are pretty stock intensive? I'm not too sure, man. You know, I don't really think so. So I would say players would have to choose between Ayase, or I should say players will have to choose between Arisa or Nico, because I don't think running both of them is good. I think you have to choose one or the other. You know, I don't think there's space for 2 1k backups. I think there's space for only one, and I think the winner is Nico just because the anti-change is very useful in a lot of situations. So, you know, I think that now, but who knows? I could be wrong, but I definitely think Arisa does have playability. You know, maybe I'm right that there's only space for 1k backup, and maybe Arisa will be the more popular one. But as of right now, I think Nico is the better one to run. But that doesn't, as a standalone card, I think Arisa is playable, and I think she's very interesting. And for a common, I definitely can't complain. I think she's a very interesting common. And oh yeah, Arisa got the music trait, so hooray! She joins Yukiho in the music trait wagon, which makes a lot of sense because they are pretty much music. They're pretty much like wannabe idols at the end. Well, idols in progress, I should say. Idols in the making. Anyways, next card. 001K Common Sunny Day Song Kosaka Yukiho music trait. So when it's played from hand to stage, you can pay cost, which is pay 2. If you do, choose one music character in your waiting room, add it to your hand. So pay 2 salvage on play. And on attack, you choose one of your other characters that gets plus 1k power and plus 1 level for the turn. So this Yukiho, I think, is fairly okay. Kind of wanted another Yukiho card because I think she's really cute. But the Bonder Yukiho wasn't very good. So now that we have this new Sunny Day Song Yukiho, I think she's pretty solid. Pay 2 salvage. Pay 2 salvage is usually like a player's preference card. You know, it's not like this effect is mandatory in your deck. But I definitely think the pay 2 salvage ability is very nifty because it can help you pay out a lot of stock when you need it, and you do get to plus in the process. So I'm personally a fan of pay 2 salvage, and Love Live already had pay 2 salvage in the past. We had the 002K Honoka from the trial deck, very first trial deck I should say, and from the first booster that had the pay 2 salvage. But now we have a new one. The downside to this is that she's only 1k, as to Honoka being 2k power. This Yukiho is only 1k power, so she's even weaker than her sister. But she has the second effect of on attack you give a character plus 1 level and plus 1k for the turn, and I think that is worth it because now Love Live is somewhat dependent on reversing their opponent's character, especially like many level 3s are dependent on reversing their opponent's character with all the clock shooters we got, with the double attacking Muse we have, and the level 3 double attacking Hanayo. Lots of characters do need to reverse their opponent's characters to get the double attack off, and the 1k power can make the difference at the late stages of the game. So the 1k power I think can go a pretty far way in Love Live. And also, don't forget, we have the new We Are Single Light Maki, which does need all the power she can get because she's only 4-5 base. So using this with like We Are Single Light Maki can be pretty cool. Maybe like play Yukiho, pay 2, salvage Maki from your waiting room, play the We Are Single Light Maki, play the Climax, attack with Yukiho first, give the power to Maki, and then maybe with that extra 1k, Maki will be able to reverse the opponent character. So yeah, overall I think the 1k power and the 1 level is quite useful in Love Live, so I think she's going to be pretty good. And in my decks, when I want pay 2 salvage, I will definitely turn to Yukiho for my pay 2 salvage of choice. So yeah, very happy with this, and it's only common too. And it's Yukiho, really cute. Hopefully the foil art is cuter than this. I'm so excited to see the foil art for Love Live. I can't wait. Anyways, the next batches of cards were like extra cards they shown for the weekend because they weren't showing any more cards. So like this is like where the extra cards come in for the day. So more Love Live. 217k double R Angelic Angel ISA Eddie. Music trait, of course she would be getting the Angelic Angel. Of course her double R would be Angelic Angel because, it makes the most sense. It's kind of her song. Or she's the center of it, so, it makes the most sense. So, 2 abilities, continuous. For every other music character you control, she gets plus 500, so the full field she'll be 9k before assist. Combos with the Climax Angelic Angel. When she attacks with Angelic Angel, you may choose one card in your clock, return it to your hand. If you do, clock yourself 1 damage. And we don't know what Angelic Angel is. Yeah, they haven't revealed what Angelic Angel is, so for all we know, it could be like a stock 1 soul, a plus 2 soul. I don't think it's going to be a gold bar because we already have a gold bar because of the We Are Single Light is a gold bar. So I don't think they're going to get another gold bar. I mean, they could, but I don't think it's likely. It could be a gold sack. Maybe? Yeah, it could be a gold sack. So maybe it could be a gold sack, a stock 1 soul, a 2k1, or a plus 2 soul. Or maybe a, like, plus 3 soul draw card. Those old climaxes are so wonky, but don't think it will be. So I don't think it's going to be a gold bar. I'm just going to take a wild guess, and maybe it's a 2k 1 soul. Who knows? Who knows? We really don't know what she's going to combo with. But anyways, this Eddie, overall, as much as it pains me to say this, I don't think it's very good. I would not consider running this in my new Love Live deck. Just like Hanayo, like I said, 219k isn't just that impressive anymore. It's just like, oh, you're 219k? Well, here's my level 3 Kosaki, or here's my level 3 Kosaki. Like, eat it. It's like, oh, damn it. I paid one stock to not accomplish much, and this card is pretty much dead for the rest of the match because it can't really kill anything. So, you know, 219k just not very impressive anymore. And we can't properly judge her climax combo because we don't know what Angelic Angel is yet. But no matter what it is, I don't think it's worth it. I think Love Live, we have so many climax combos now, and many of them are pretty good. So will this Angelic Angel one make the cut? Like, to run Angelic Angel climax combo, you have to run a fairly mediocre card, which is Angelic Angel Eddie. And the benefits you get out of it isn't that great. You break even because you choose a card in your clock and you add it to your hand, and then you clock yourself 1 damage. So, like, you don't heal. It's costless, which is nice, but I just don't think the benefits are good enough, you know? Just getting a card from your clock, adding it to your hand, and you clock yourself. Like, the card you might clock might be a climax. Yeah, you don't trigger it, but it's stuck in your clock until you level up or heal it out, so I just don't think it's worth it. Yeah, you get a guaranteed card out of your clock because it's not dependent on reversing your opponent's character, and it's costless, so it's cool in that regard. But I just think there are just so many better climax combos you could be running. In Love Life now, I just don't think Eddie's climax combo will make the cut. Yeah, I'm trying to think, but no, I just don't think she'll make the cut. I think she's pretty bad. So, you know, maybe there'll be other cards that could combo with Angelic Angel, and maybe they will be the redeeming factor in this combo. Like maybe we'll have a case where it's like Hanayo and Nin, where Hanayo is not very good on her own, but because she runs with such a good combo with another card, Hanayo's playability goes up in that regard. So maybe in that regard, we might have a case similar to that with Angelic Angel Eddie. You know, we're still missing the double R Nozomi, and Nozomi has to be a level 1 or 0 because Eddie is number 2 and Nico is number 3, so 3 2. So, you know, the Nozomi will most likely be a level 1 or 0. And maybe if she's like a level 1 and has a really good combo with Angelic Angel, then maybe like if that happens, then you could same thing with the Hanaya, you could run one Eddie just because she kind of gets like she's kind of coattailing on the combo of like Nozomi if she combos with Angelic Angel, and if it's really good, then maybe she can coattail along and be good as well. But if she's the only card that combos with Angelic Angel, I don't think it'll make the cut. So unfortunate. As of right now, as it stands, I don't think she's good, and I don't think whatever she combos with, I don't think will change the fact that she's not very good right now. Like I said, I think the only way she can be good is if another card combos with Angelic Angel and it's really good, and she coattails along with it and becomes good as well. Which is so saddening because Angelic Angel is such a nice song. I love Angelic Angel, and Eddie's really cute, and it's kind of like her song. So I was like gonna be excited for Angelic Angel Eddie, but then didn't turn out to be very good. So hopefully she can coattail along, but if that's not the case, then I guess we will reserve her for the Eddie waifu deck. So on to the Eddie waifu deck. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean the only like really good Eddie waifu climax combo would probably be like the gold sack and this one. Oh, right here. Probably this is like the best combo that comes to mind for Eddie waifu deck. So besides that, I can't really think of any good climax combos. So maybe in your Eddie waifu deck she can work. I'm trying to think really hard, but let's take a quick look. No, all her other climax combos aren't that fantastic, so I guess for the Eddie waifu deck this can work out. But Eddie waifu deck is already pretty strong. It has great level 0s with runners and great assists. The level 1 is excellent with the 1-0 Eddie and the like 1-1 clock encore Eddie and the 1-0 that combos with the sack and the 1-0 that gets plus 2k on play. You know, Eddie waifu deck already super strong. I guess this can be a level 2 game for the Eddie waifu deck. Yeah, I guess Eddie doesn't really have a level 2 game plan. Maybe the 2-2 Eddie from the extra booster. Besides that, I can't really think of anything else for an Eddie waifu deck. So I guess she's a good addition. Yeah, I think this is like the best level 2 game plan Eddie has. Quite powerful. Pretty stock intensive, but can be pretty strong. So I guess for the Eddie waifu deck, this Eddie will be a pretty good addition. I guess it really does depend on what she combos with as well, because if it's another sack, it'll be pretty awkward because you're going to be running 4 sacks, and then at that point it's like, Jesus, how many sacks do you need? But anyways, for the Eddie waifu deck, I guess she'll be a pretty good addition to that, huh? So yeah, I guess that is that going on for it. Oh, I almost. Do I really need to do a I don't have to do a waifu review for these two. I guess I will. Arisa. I guess if you're running Arisa, you can't make an Arisa waifu deck, so I guess you would run her in her sister because, yeah, you just have to bring her along with the sister. So you could run her in the Eddie waifu deck, I guess, and it'll be okay because, like I said, I think this card is already playable. So in the waifu deck, I guess you can run one Arisa, you know, in your waifu deck if you want to bring Arisa along. Run one of these Arisa, and then there you go. Yukiho doesn't work in the Honoka waifu deck because, like I said last week, the Honoka waifu deck is very dependent on cards having the Honoka name in their actual card name. And since Yukiho doesn't have Honoka in her name, she's going to hurt the deck more than helping her, so she doesn't fit anywhere in any waifu deck. On to the next card, we got Future Style Honoka 0025 Common, music trait. When it's played from hand to stage, if you do not have another music character, this card gets sent to the waiting room. And another effect, auto, when this card is reversed and the level of this card's battling opponent is level 0 or lower, you may place that character to reverse. So what, is this the fourth Suicider? Right, we had the Honoka, the Umi, the Kotori, we have stock Suiciders, and yeah, this is like the 5th Suicider we got now. So yeah, 5 Suiciders. Do we really need any more? I don't really think so. And Honoka already had a Suicider, so and she didn't really need one. If anything, I would have maybe appreciated another, like a green Suicider, because green doesn't have a Suicider yet. We don't have clock shoot Suiciders yet. So I think I would have appreciated a clock Suicider more. But oh well, what can you do? It's only a common and it's okay. So this one is 2/5, so a very, very, very strong Suicider. You know, the strongest Suiciders go are 2k, and those are only 2k vanilla Suiciders. But this one being 2/5, of course she has a demerit, and her demerit is pretty big. If you don't have another music character, she does blow herself up, and that can be pretty bad. Especially if you have if your opening hand consists of a lot of future style Honokas, then your level 0 game is pretty much, like, you're done for that turn until you draw another level 0, you know? Very similar to what I talked about with Shinobu. If you're running many of these cards, and if your opening hand only consists of these Honokas, then you're kind of screwed for that turn. And you might be screwed on for the future turns if you don't draw level 0. So her being 2/5, I think it's really cool and it's really good. I kind of like how Bushiroad is trying to make stronger Suiciders for level 0. But I think her demerit is a little too big. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's a little too heavy. I mean, blowing yourself up at level 0. Like, she doesn't even go to stock. She doesn't die at the end of the turn. She just dies straight up, and that's pretty bad, so. Love Live has a lot of good Suiciders already. They have stock Suiciders. We have pay 1, kill a level 0 Suicider. We have anti-runner Suiciders. Is this Suicider really necessary with all the other great utility Suiciders we have? I don't think so. I think the other utility Suiciders are better. But I like the idea behind this Honoka a lot, so. Yeah, overall, I like the idea, but I don't think it's just going to work out. In the Honoka waifu deck, just like, I mean, Honoka already has a Suicider, and it's a pretty solid Suicider already, so same thing, it might not work out, but in Honoka waifu's deck situation, in the Honoka waifu deck, you're already running 4 of these. Where is it? You're already running 4 of these assists because it's just this assist is amazing in the Honoka waifu deck. Definitely one of the reasons why Honoka waifu is pretty strong is because of this assist. So I mean, if you're running 4 of these, and you have 2 of these in the back, and you have 1 of this in the front, it's a 3/5 Suicider, which is pretty damn ridiculous. But I think you should just stay safe and just run the old Suicider. Maybe you could run 1 or 2 of these, but I would personally just run like one of these in my Honoka waifu deck. Maybe, maybe. I'll try out one or two, but I would say just run this in conjunction with your other Honoka Suicide for the waifu deck. I think you'll be alright. Alright, up next we got Puyo. So, yeah, I'm not too sure how to feel about this set. But so far, just from these leaks alone, it's pretty damn good. So let's get to it. 001K Uncommon Carbuncle Puyo. So I guess Puyo will be the main trait for this set. Makes sense. Not too sure what a Puyo is, but who knows. Anyways, Puyo and Mystery. When this card declares an attack, choose one of your characters, gets plus 1k and plus 1 level for the turn. And it bonds for Bio and Are? Are? I'll just say Are. I'll just say Are. So bonds for Are, which is it's just discard a card bond, so you don't plus. But the card he bonds with is quite beastly. It is a 3/2 10k double R. Bio and Are. Puyo on Magic. First thing to note is she's number 3. So yellow in this set will have 3 double R's at the very least, which is pretty cool. But anyways, on to the effect. When this card declares an attack with the Climax Bio N, which is this win trigger right here, all your Puyo characters get plus 2k power and the following ability until the end of the turn, where if the damage of this card is cancelled, you burn 1 to your opponent. This is actually a mistake. When this card declares an attack with the Climax Bio N, and all your Puyo characters get plus 2k, but that's all that happens. Only she gains the burn on cancel effect. Because if it wasn't, it'd be so ridiculous. But over here, other sources also say that, see right here, when this card attacks with Bio N, during this turn, all your Puyo characters get plus 2k, and this card gains the following effect, where on cancel, burn 1. So do keep in mind, only she gets to burn 1 on cancel, because if all your characters got it, this would be like the most broken thing ever. Even more broken than Yami. So do keep in mind, only she gets to burn 1 on cancel. However, she has another effect of, when she's played from hand to stage, during the turn, this ability can only be activated once per turn. When this card is placed from hand to stage, and the damage of this card is cancelled, you may deal 1 to your opponent, and of course, damage can be cancelled. And she combos with the Climax Rare. So, Bio and Are. I'm sure we can just see from the card effect alone that she's quite beastly. Played from hand to stage, she burns 1 on cancel. Doesn't even need the climax for that to happen. So even without her climax combo, she's okay. You know, she does the burn 1 on cancel. You know, like I said with Hachikuchi, I think the on play burn 1 on cancel, it's a little weak now. But this is not real. But this is a special case because she has a pretty damn scary climax combo. When you play the climax, the combo is completely free, which is really scary. All your Puyo character get plus 2k, and we only know 2 cards so far, but I'm going to assume all the characters are going to be Puyo. So pretty much I'm going to assume all your characters get plus 2k, and she gains an additional burn 1 on cancel. So technically all your characters get 3k power, because do keep in mind there's a 1k 1 soul, and that's pretty good. She gets 2 instances of burn. She'll be 13k, and before assist, and all your other characters get plus 2k power as well, which is really good. And maybe if they have like a clock shooter, then that can be really scary. Like running this with the clock shooter, that clock shooter will get an additional 13k, will most likely kill the opponent's character, and they can clock shoot. Assuming that the clock shoot is not non-climax combo reliant, it can be a pretty scary thing. Or if they have like a double attacker that doesn't need a combo to go off, that can be really scary as well. Maybe something like Tachibana or a caster. So the extra power, it is scary, but you know, maybe depending on what else they get, it can be even scarier later. But that's such a respectable amount of power, 13k. And she gets an additional burn 1 on cancel. So she gets 2 stacks of burn on cancel if you use her effect, if you use her combo on play, because 1 from herself and 1 from the combo. So yeah, like really, really solid. But you know, I'm sure we all can imagine with multiple of this card, it gets all that much more scarier. For example, if you have 3 of this card, they all get burn on, and so you play all 3 and you play the combo, then all 3 of them will go off, and each of them have 2 stacks of burn on cancel, which is pretty ridiculous. That's even scarier than Triple Yami. Yeah, that's scarier than Triple Yami, which is like ridiculous to think about. But I think it makes. But Yami. I think Yami is better than this card. But with three of these, it's better than like if you have three of these, it's better than Yami. But Yami as a whole, and how the two level darkness set works, is just better than this. I'm not gonna really compare the two because I don't think that's really. I don't think that we really have to do that. But with three of her, she's scarier than Yami. But actually, I will. Why not? She's scarier than Triple Yami, but do keep in mind Yami is so good because she has a draw 2 ditch 1, which helps her dig for more Yamis or helps dig for her climax. She can't be anti-damaged, and like the set has hand encore, so if she dies, she has hand encore, and they have anti-damage backup. So like Yami's the like two level darkness synergy as a whole makes Yami stronger, while like this card is really scary with three of these. But unlike Yami, she can't search her. She can't like look. She can't draw 2 ditch. She can't look for more of her. She can't be anti-damaged. And like one of the reasons why Yami's so dumb is because her climax combo is almost guaranteed. If you play triple Yami, you dig 6 cards out of your deck, and if you're compressed, you're most likely going to find that win trigger. But Bio, like Ade, you can't really guarantee that like you can with Yami. So this card very scary with 3 of her, very even scarier than Yami. But keep in mind you can't anti-damage her, and do keep in mind her combo is probably going to be a bit less consistent because she can't search herself out. But even though I say that, I still think she's amazing. With 3 of her, what is that? 13, 15. They all get 7k power, and they all have 2 stacks of burn. So it'll be like attack, cancel, burn, burn. Next one, attack, cancel, burn, burn. Attack, cancel, burn, burn. It's like, oh my god, you're fucking dead at that point. So overall, really, really cool. Not as strong as Yami in my opinion. But maybe it will be stronger than Yami. Maybe this card will have even more broken synergy than 2 Level Darkness. Who knows? Who knows? But as a standalone card, very, very, very powerful. And a very exciting way to start off Puyo. Just seeing this card alone, I'm like, damn. I'm kind of excited for Puyo now. Like, at first, they were like, oh, Puyo coming out February 4th. I'm like, okay. I don't give a shit. But now, I kind of have kind of a little interested in Puyo. So yeah, really, really exciting. Can't wait to see this card in action. So, super, super excited. And, oh yeah, almost forgot about Carbuncle. Since Carbuncle scraps such a scary card, why not run 1 or 2 Carbuncles, maybe the deck doesn't have much salvage, maybe red isn't popular, and if that's the case, grabbing or rinsing and repeating this level 3 with the power of Puyo Bond can be nice. And he has the nice on attack give 1k level or 1k and 1 level for the turn. Depending, 1k and 1 level is always nice, but just like I said with Yukiho, if the set is dependent on reversing their opponent's character to get certain card effects off, then he becomes that much better. But for the fact he bonds for such a beastly character, I think he does have potential in future play. And he's a discarded card bond, which isn't very nice, because you don't plus. But maybe the set doesn't have a good way of discarding climaxes. Like maybe they don't get anything like Ononoki, and they have to discard climaxes in like not so easy ways like Ononoki can. Then maybe this guy will be all that much more valued. So yeah, he definitely has potential to see future play in my opinion. And that's it. So that was supposed to be it. They were like, oh, no more leaks for the rest of the week. But then on New Year's, they showed Kanbaru because Year of the Monkey, and we can't have Year of the Monkey without good old Kanbaru. So anyways, January 1st, 3-2, 10k R. Again, only an R. Like, is this how Monogatari is going to work? Only R level 3s and double R level 0s? That would be quite revolutionary, and maybe this will be the start of... Maybe Bushiroad will always keep it like this? Maybe? Who knows? We still have a lot of double R's to go through. We have 6 more double R's for Monogatari. But anyways, Kanbaru. I have no regrets. Suruga Kanbaru, Strange and Sports. First effect, when you have 2 or fewer climaxes in your waiting room, this card loses 1 level in your hand. Second auto ability, when it's played from hand to stage, this card gets plus 4/5 power in the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn, where during this card's battle, all players are not able to play any backup abilities from their hand. So this Kanbaru, I think it's not the greatest, but I definitely think she's fairly solid. Right now, Monogatari doesn't have a really good early level 2 play. Like they have changes, like they have a change where you can play level 3 Senjo from the first booster, but that one's pretty heavy. And they have like the climax phase change for Shinobu in the Nisamono booster, but climax phase changes, heavy changes, just not very good nowadays. So definitely one of the things to keep a deck competitive is by giving them an early level 3 deck at combat level 2. Not every deck needs it. Prime example, Two Lovely Darkness, but having one is always nice. So now they have one, and it's only an R, and I think it's pretty solid. First effect, just like Kirito, I mentioned this many times. This requirement, very, very, very easy to meet. Very easy to meet. So her first condition is going to be no exception. Very easy to meet. So really easy to play her at level 2, in my opinion. And when she does, she's not too bad. She gets plus 4/5, so it should be 14/5 before assist, which is ridiculous, especially at level 2. And it does stay until the end of your opponent's next turn. So for your turn and your opponent's turn, they have to deal with this 14/5 big body Kanbaru. And when she battles, your opponent cannot play, or you and your opponent cannot play backup abilities. Kanbaru, not really a problem for Kanbaru because she's 14/5, so you, the Monogatari player, probably don't have to worry about her, especially at level 2. I don't think you have to worry about her at all. But at level 3, maybe. At level 3, it might bite you in the ass if your opponent is like using an on-reverse climax combo, like a clock shooter, and you have a backup in your hand, but you can't back up Kanbaru because her effect does apply to you as well. It might hurt in that regard, but that's a pretty big like hurdle to climb over. Her being 14/5 base. If you have a level assist behind her, she'll be 16k. If you have a level 3 Hanakawa behind her, she's 16/5, and that's really hard for most decks to deal with. Triple Puyo can't deal with that, but only triple Puyo can, maybe. But we'll see. But so yeah, I think it's cool in that regard. Also, I think the coolest thing about this is that since your opponent cannot play backup when she attacks, most level 3s that come out of level 2 are, susceptible to anti-change backups. Really annoying, but, very much needed. Kanbaru doesn't really care about that because she attacks. Your opponent can't anti-damage or your anti-change backup against her. And then they just have to accept her attack. You get the stock and you deal the damage. When you attack with another character, they can anti-damage against you or anti-change against you because I'm sure we all know you can anti-change your opponent's level 3 even though the opponent's level 3 is not the one attacking you. It's just how it works. So, every time you attack with the level 3 at level 2, do attack with the level 3 first. I'm sure we all know that now. So, do keep in mind, she is still susceptible to anti-change backups because she can still be targeted. But when she attacks first, she cannot do so. So with this Kanbaru, always attack first so that way you don't get anti-change backup. And yes, she is still susceptible to anti-change backups, but I think it's worth it because one of the annoying things about anti-change backup is that you don't deal any damage with that attack because the attacking character has left the field. But Kanbaru, you attack with her first, you get the stock, and you deal the damage. You attack with your other character, your opponent anti-changes back up your level 3 Kanbaru, but I think at that point, Kanbaru has done a decent job. She killed one of your opponent's character, most likely because she's 14/5. She can even kill opponent's level 3s. She probably killed one of your opponent's character. She dealt the damage, and she got you a stock. So, I think she's fairly solid. Yes, anti-damage. Yes, she can't get anti-changed, but if you attack with her first, I think the damage has been done. And I think it's worth it if you do so. So yeah, I see a lot of people like hating on Kanbaru because they're like, oh, she could get anti-damage or anti-change backup. But if you attack with her first, and then they anti-change her, I don't think that's too bad because she killed something, she got you the stock, and she dealt you the damage. And I think that's worth it in the end. So in the end, I like this Kanbaru a lot. I think she's really good. I think she's something Monogatari needed to be competitive, and she's only a freaking R2, and her requirement is really easy to meet. So overall, I really like this Kanbaru. I think she's really solid. And right now, in the previous Monogatari decks, as of right now, Usually, you want to level up green first, so that way you can get your 1-1 Hanakawa up and active. And usually the card you level up with is the level 3 Kambaru from the first booster that heals and gets extra power and has Hand Encore. But that Kambaru, I don't think it's really going to make the cut. So maybe now we can run 3 or 2 of these Kambarus, this new one, and now we can use her as experience fodder, and we can use her as early drop level 2, or early drop level 3 at level 2, and I think that'd be pretty solid, you know? I think if the game plan is still leveling up a level 3 green at level 1, I think this Kambaru will be the new target. Because I think now we have better healers. Like, we still have the Senjo healer, we have the Shinobu healer, we have the new Hachikuchi healer. So I don't think that Kambaru healer is needed anymore. But I think if we wanted to level up a green at level 1 with 3 experience, I think this new Kambaru can do a good job of fulfilling that role while supplying you with an early drop level 3 at level 2. And I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, overall, definitely like this Kambaru. For an R, I don't think we can really complain. So definitely solid in my opinion. So yeah, and Kambaru's a pretty cute, sexy girl. So yeah, more plus points for her. And I think that's it. Yep, that's all for this video, guys. Man, what a video. This is an hour 40 minutes, but I mean, no surprise. So many. It's a short week, but just so many cards leaked this week, man. And so many of them are so interesting and good too, so not that surprising. But anyways, like always, do a little wrap up. Sengoku, definitely playable. Fujinawa, I would say save it, there's space for better cards. Shinobu, I would say just run better level zeros, don't run her. And you don't even need her to splash green, yellow. Araragi, really like him. I think he's a really good way to splash green into your decks. And I think he's just really good all stages of the game. So yeah, really like this Araragi. Great utility level 0 in my opinion. Rin, love Rin. Just super awesome. Hanayo's, it's okay. She's kind of coattailing on Rin, but yeah, they're best friends. Let Hanayo coattail on Rin. And really cute climax. Can't wait to see the foil art for this. Hachikuchi, really like. I think she's really good. I think she's good. Only for an R2, god, so ridiculous. All these great R level 3s. Shinobu, I also think very playable and solid. Definitely could see players running 1 or 2. And that sexy back. Can't say no to that. Ononoki, as much as I hate her, definitely playable, and I would not be surprised at all if I saw her in future Monogatari decks. Kuriyami, too specific. Arisa, great card, or not great, playable card, but will it beat Nico in the 1K utility backup department? Don't think so, but we'll just have to see. Yukiho, I definitely think it's playable, and if I want a pay to salvage on play in my future Love Life decks, I'll definitely consider this Yukiho to do so. Eddie, sadly, not a very good card. Maybe she can coattail if another card is good with Angelic Angel, but if that's not the case, I don't think she'll be good. And yes, we don't know what she combos with, but I don't think whatever she combos with, I don't think will save this card, so, oh well. Man, so excited for Angelic Angel Eddie too, but oh well. Future Style Honoka, I like the idea, but I personally would not try it. I personally wouldn't run it. Carbuncle, definitely playable just because of how scary fucking this level 3 is. So yeah, this level 3, definitely excellent, and a really good way to excite people for Puyo. And lastly, Kambaru. I think she's pretty solid. I think she's cool. So yeah, I would definitely consider running her in my future Monogatari decks if green decides to stay good, which I would not be surprised if green does because stay good. So yeah, that is all for this video, guys. So far we have 2 double R's down for Monogatari, the Hachikuchi and the Ononoki. But so far, it's looking pretty good. We got 6 double R's left for Monogatari, and we got what 3 weeks left? 3 weeks left. So still lots of potential for Monogatari. For Love Live, what is this? 5 double R's down now, right? We got Nico, Maki, Honoka, Rin, Hanayo, Eddie. Oh damn, is that 6? Honoka, Maki, Nico, Rin, Hanayo, Eddie. Oh man, we're already 6 double R's down. No, we only have 3 more left, guys. I'm scared, but hopefully Nozomi, Umi, and Kotori will be really, really good. So yeah, really excited to see what else comes for Monogatari and Love Live. Puyo not so much, but hey, who knows? Maybe the set will be fantastic. So really excited to see what is up and coming for this next few weeks, and I hope you guys are too. And my throat is killing me, so I'll leave it at that. And until next time, guys.